Moo, moo, moo. Yep, it's the Evo Cow knife. Welcome to Cutlery Cavern. Today, what I have before you is the Wenger Genuine Swiss Army Knife Evo Cow knife. This is made on the Evo 10 scales. A little bit of history lesson before I begin. Like I said, this knife is made by Wenger. There are actually two companies that make Swiss Army knives. Most people are not aware of that. The one most people are familiar with is Victorinox. They make the original Swiss Army knives, and they made the original Swiss Army knife. They were the first company to make, or the first Swiss company to make knives for the Swiss Army. However, shortly after Victorinox started making knives for the Swiss Army, Wenger started making knives for the Swiss Army also, and so both companies had legally had the right to call their knives Swiss Army knives. Because Wenger did not make the first ones, they ended up getting labeled with the genuine Swiss Army knives. So there are two different companies making Swiss Army knives: Wenger genuine Swiss Army knives, and Victorinox original Swiss Army knives. Around 2007. Wenger went bankrupt, and they were bought by Victorinox. But Victorinox said that they would continue to make Swiss Army knives with the Wenger Tang stamp. The difference between the two knives, let's see here, is if you can see the crosses on them. That's the easiest way to spot the difference between the two knives. This is a Wenger, this is a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. Most of them end up with red scales. However, they do use different scales, as you can notice with the cow knife. Let's get back to our cow knife now. This is the Wenger Evo Cow. It's made on the Evo 10 scales, which means they're ergonomic scales. So it's got a nice hand-fitting type scale. And it has the typical blades you find on the Evo 10. So you've got your corkscrew. And you have, let's see here, where is it? You have your tweezers made by Wenger, which are different than the ones by Victorinox, and a toothpick. The toothpick is not as good as the Victorinox toothpick, but the tweezers are just as good, if not better, than the ones you find on Victorinox. Punch blade or reamer blade is kind of pointy, but it's not sharp at all on any edge. Which is typical of the Wenger reamer. So it's a different reamer style than you have on the Victorinox, but still quite functional. And some people actually prefer this one over the Victorinox simply because it is not sharp. So it works really good for picking knots and stuff of that nature. So it becomes much more useful. The blade is a Spearmaster, similar to what you see on a Victorinox. The difference is it's a little smaller because, as you can tell, 91 millimeters versus 85 millimeters. So these are an actual nicer fit for the pocket because of their length. You got a can opener, which is actually, despite lacking the screwdriver tip that you find on the other ones, this is a much better can opener. This one functions much easier. More people are used to using a can opener that operates like this, and it just works better on the can. So many people prefer the Wenger can opener to the Victorinox can opener. Other side, you have the screwdriver, cap lifter, wire stripper, a little bit smaller than the Victorinox one, but just as good. And what I really like about this one is you have a nail file blade, which also works for striking matches. So when you're camping, you can strike that match and get your campfire going much easier. So really good. Much prefer the nail file over the pin blade that you usually have on the Victorinox knives. So that's the blade configuration. The quality of the build is what you expect of any Swiss Army knife. It's just a terrific built knife. But really, what I bought this for was because of the scales. I mean, come on, it looks like a cow. How could you not like a knife that looks like a cow? It's just terrific. The scales are actually white, and then they're black printed over it, so it might wear off over time, but I don't think it's going to wear off anytime soon. It seems to be very solid. Also says Switzerland on there. That's because this is one knife in the series. They also have one that looks like cheese, like Swiss cheese, and the holes look like it go right through the knife, so it's really cool. And then the other one they have is a chocolate bar that looks like it's being unwrapped, and it says Switzerland, and it's got all the chocolate on it, so it looks really cool too. Um, and they're all basically like a souvenir of Switzerland kind of knife that Wenger made. Unfortunately, this is 2014, and this is the year that Victorinox mentioned that they are no longer going to be producing Wenger knives. In the future, the knives coming out of Delmont are also going to be stamped Victorinox. So this is the end of the Wenger knives, and these are going to become kind of scarce in the near future. And considering these were limited edition production to begin with, they're already kind of scarce. So if you're looking for a cow knife, you're going to have to look real fast and sort of trying to find them quickly. Otherwise, the price is going to be jumping dramatically. They're only about $33 now, and well worth the $33. It's a shame that Wenger knives are going the way of the dinosaurs, but if you can grab them, they're definitely worth buying. They're not as popular and not as well known as Victorinox, but they're definitely worth having, and they're a top quality, well-made knife. And this one, I mean, it looks like a cow. How can you not go right if you get a knife that looks like a cow? Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon. And watch where you step. I think the Evo Cow knife has been busy.